So I was specifically asked to come up with a keto pumpkin spice latte recipe, hence the pumpkin and the awesome flannel. So we're gonna do that, but afterwards I do have relevant latte information that will explain some of why I'm doing this the way I'm doing it. So be sure to keep watching after we show you how to make it to learn a little bit that might explain some stuff. This recipe does not actually contain pumpkin because it is a pumpkin spice latte, not a pumpkin latte. So first, put 3/4 of a cup of heavy cream in your little blender cup. Just want to clarify, we're making a concentrate that's going to make multiple cups of coffee. We are not telling you to put 3/4 of a cup of heavy cream in a single latte. Next, we're going to add 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, a 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg, a 1/2 teaspoon of ginger, a 1/2 teaspoon of allspice, a 1/4 teaspoon of cloves, which since these cute little measuring spoons that Allison got don't have a 1/4 teaspoon, we're just going to wing it. And finally, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of your keto sweetener of choice. Now put the blender base on your cup, and VoiceOver Me is going to send you back up to real me because I need you to hear what's going on. What we're basically doing is making a very heavily spiced whipped cream that we're going to use to make our pumpkin spice lattes. I don't know if you know this, but you can use these to make whipped cream in about 7 seconds. But I want you to listen to it as we make it because you can actually hear when it becomes whipped cream. Okay, I have no idea what's going on here. I have made whipped cream in this thing at least a dozen times and it has never taken this long. But the one time I decided to record it, it decided to take forever. So we're just gonna fast forward to the end here so you can hear what I wanted you to hear. So however long it takes that long, but when you hear that pitch change, stop it. Otherwise you're gonna make butter. So we take this off. We have a nice whipped cream. It tastes very pumpkin spicy. Yeah, this is a concentrate. This is not supposed to be sweet yet. We're putting it in coffee. Now to make your pumpkin spice latte, simply take 1 cup of coffee, add a generous tablespoon of your pumpkin spice concentrate whipped cream, stir until that's well mixed and dissolved in the cup of coffee, and then sweeten to taste with your keto sweetener of choice. That's all there is to it. Now you can take the rest of this pumpkin spice whipped cream, put it in a Tupperware, put it in your fridge, and in the morning when you want your pumpkin spice latte, you can put a tablespoon of this in your coffee, sweeten it to your liking, and you're good to go. The reason that I'm adding stevia after it's done is because I used monk fruit to sweeten this. You can use whatever sweetener you want, whatever keto sweetener you want, but monk fruit is a sugar alcohol, and if you have experience with sugar alcohol, and especially too much sugar alcohol, you know why I'm cautious to put too much in here and recommend that you have more than you need in a cup of coffee, because that could make your drive to work eventful in the kind of way you don't like. So because we use actual spices in this, as this sits, it will probably essentially steep in the whipped cream, and that flavor will intensify. It won't taste any different in your coffee, but the whipped cream itself will absorb some of those flavors. It will spread out, and it might even soften those spices up as they sit in the whipped cream. So day 2 or 3 of this might have a better flavor and textural experience than day 1. It's probably going to taste a little bit different, probably a little better a day or 2 after you make it. So we're going to put this in the fridge. Yeah. So let me tell you about lattes for a second, because that'll explain why I did this way. I worked in a coffee shop, managed a coffee shop for a while. Allison and I actually met in that coffee shop when she was working there. So a latte is by definition steamed frothed milk in espresso. When you steam milk, you are injecting air and heat. It's not just warm, you're actually injecting air into the milk, swirling it around, heating it at the same time, and that chemically changes the milk. It sweetens it, it brings out the sugars. It also thickens the milk, and you're putting a lot of thick, frothy milk into a little bit of espresso. So when you're eating, drinking, texture is really important. So what you may not notice when you drink a latte that probably contributes a lot to the experience but may not be conscious is the way it coats your tongue. When you drink it, that thicker milk is going to coat your tongue more than just black coffee. It's just the mouth feel is the term for it. So you can't replicate that without steamed milk. That is essential to an actual latte. So why not get a little milk frother and just make a latte at home? Why didn't we go that route? Well, one, I didn't want to tell you you had to have another piece of equipment to make this. And two, if you can see that, a cup of this milk, which is about what you would put in a large latte, has 11 grams of sugar. And that's why we don't drink milk on a ketogenic diet. So yes, our kids drink milk. That's why we have that. So the reason that I went with the heavy cream is so that it would at least give it a little body. It adds fat in, and that fat and just the texture of the heavy cream will make it feel a little more like a latte than if you just went and got like sugar-free pumpkin spice syrup and put it in a cup of coffee and just had it that way. So the closest I could get, at least on this recipe, was to use heavy cream. That's the closest that I could get to actually replicating the feel of a latte. And without using artificial flavors, we went with just straight spices, blended them up. So that's why we can't do an actual latte, because you have to have whole milk or skim milk, all of which have sugar in them. And so I hope you like this. I will play around with a little bit more. If we come up with something different, we'll share that. But for now, this is my version of a ketogenic pumpkin spice latte.